Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 268. Let's see who shows up here. And all right, so interesting set of champions. So of course, if you're out here just looking to draft your 7 winner, you're going to take this Shyvana. The Demacia is incredibly strong right now. Shyvana is incredibly strong right now. Even her being paired into Ionia, where you'd prefer her to be with Shadow Isles or Targon, it's fine. All of her cards are just so super strong. It's a great place to be. But let's go with something a little bit different here, and that would lead us back to either Ari or to Twisted Fate. And I feel like it's just been actual forever since we've drafted Twisted Fate. And so let's see what we can do, see if we can't get some kind of nice build around going with him. And not just have him become a utility champion. And so as the complete flip side to Demacia and Shyvana here in the middle, Bilgewater is far and away the worst faction in Expedition. And so we'll see how far we can overcome in this trial today. So I'm going to pull this up on the site real quick. And yeah, if you're not familiar, we're just on ftpbus.com. We'll just be on the front page here, make our way to this little drop-down box on the Expedition Helper, and come pick up Twisted Fate and First to the Draw. And so, yeah, it's a gigantic card pool, and this one kind of blows my mind a little bit in terms of Twisted Fate used to have 2 things going for him, right? He could either do this well, I should say he had 3 decks going for him. The first 2 are kind of like similar in that you could be like really aggressive. You're trying to hit a lot of plunders, and then once you hit the plunders, you can actually draw expensive cards, but out of your opponent's deck. And so you're trying to get down and aggressive with Jagged Butchers and Pool Sharks. That converts into, say, playing Black Market Merchants, and then since we aren't playing expensive cards, we'll just hopefully draw expensive cards from our opponent's deck. Or if we just get cheap cards from them, we should be able to continue to flood the board. And then that kind of steps into all of our units suck, and our opponent's going to do better than us, right? We're playing all these really cheap plays. They're going to start playing like 3/4s and 4/4s and stuff, and then Twisted Fate can come in and just clean all that out with his red card. And so we tend to be able to spend all of our mana, be really aggressive, and win before our opponent can overcome us on the board. In the similar vein, the other kind of deck you can do is like a big card draw deck, right? And try to flip your Twisted Fate. The cards look pretty similar, but you're trying to say use Pull Shark and use what's he called? The Fortune Croaker, right? As your kind of like main card draw cards. And since you're already playing these cheap kind of cards, you're looking to just fill out with other aggressive stuff. If you draw like 5, 6 cost cards, you can't really play any of them. But if you draw 5, 2, and 3 cost cards, you can probably play all of them. And so it leads to just playing a cheaper curve. And so those were 2 kind of classic Twisted Fate decks. Then the third one was the Jawl Hunters Sea Monsters deck, right? And kind of building off of that previous one where we were trying to draw a bunch of cards. Instead of using Toss to hit deep really quick, you use Twisted Fate and Card Draw to hit deep really quick. And then you don't actually play any Sea Monsters, you just play Jawl Hunters. And they took Jawl Hunters out of all the Twisted Fate card pools. And so you can still do Sea Monsters. It can be a little bit tough to piece together, but those tend to be the 3 Twisted Fate decks. The really aggressive Plunder deck, the hey, I'm going to draw a bunch of cards deck, or I'm going to play the Sea Monsters deck. But now, Sea Monsters, again, a little tough to pull off without the Jawl Hunters. And so, Twisted Fate it is. Let's see who shows up second to help us out with these wonderful ideas that we pieced together. This is tough, right? There is no Shadow Isles, right? So that would make it a little bit more challenging to go Sea Monsters. Maybe something will turn up in our future packs. Not really going to count on that. And so amongst these cards, like the problems with each of them, the thing with Shyvana is she really wants to be either with Targon or with Shadow Isles. That's where the other dragons are. And I'm not like really happy about playing like a Bilgewater Allegiance card plus dragons, or Dragon Chow being stuck with our Bilgewater deck. Like, this all sounds kind of crappy. I'm not really interested in this Shyvana here. The next thing, these Scion cards could be okay, right? Something like Grave Physician is card draw. And if we're going to turbo up our Twisted Fate, we do like to have more card draw. And so that's kind of fine. But with like the discard style elements in here, you're usually looking for like generated cards to be what you discard, right? You would much rather discard a mushroom cloud that you created off of a clump of wumps than you would, say, discard a real card. And so Bilgewater doesn't have any card generation. So that could be kind of tough. Not a lot of synergies there. And then down here with this Leona, she does have some cheap aggressive units, like things like Solari Shield Bearer, the Solari Soldier, the Stun Bird, all of those being reasonable aggressive type things, but there's just tons and tons and tons of top end and mid rangey kind of stuff in here, and these are pretty tough to come by with these Shield Bearers. And so at the end of the day, I think I'm going to swing back and try and draft around this Scion, at least with some of this discard stuff. It should be, have something to discard, right? I mean, if we're going to draw a ton of cards, usually at least just have something. And then if we're going to be looking to draft around, say, like Yordle Grifters, then we're really wanting to like limit the amount of Noxus or whatever other faction in our deck. And, if our Noxus is limited to, say, like a Grey Physician, a Scion, and a removal spell, then that's pretty good at the end of the day. And so I think this will be a pretty reasonable pile. We'll pull up the Scion real quick just to see if there's any useful bros that could be in here. Right, I could see this going like one of two ways. We could like ignore that we have Yordle Grifter and try to just be like super aggressive. And some of these cards play well to that, like the Fallen Rider, whatever you're doing with Reborn Grenadiers and the like. And then otherwise, there's not tons of removal here. You could at least pick up a Whirling Death or something, or I could even see like Vision being okay if we're able to go completely wide. But again, the synergies here are pretty thin. I do kind of like the idea of something like Vision or in Noxus, if we could pick up like Arena Battlecasters or something with a kind of go wide, Bilgewater-y kind of thing. It could maybe, Yeah. I've done better with worse with less. And so let's see. Alrighty, so we jump into pack 2. We're offered up another Yordle Grifter. And these are probably just too good to be passing up. And so we're really going to be looking to focus in on the Allegiance side of things. So we'll be pretty heavily into Bilgewater. And then we're going to focus on the Plunders, right? If we have 2 Warning Shot generators and then Twisted Fate getting Plunders with red cards, we could just really focus in on that as a theme. Okay, and this is kind of interesting. It's like it's like as we've just added the 2 Yordle Grifters, I am seeing these like Conchologist Yordle Squires and trying to envision how good those would be here. But I think we just have to stick to the plan. I'm going to go with the Make It Rain Strong Arm. Make It Rain is another potential plunder activator. Maybe we'll incidentally pick up some powder kegs to make this good. And then not a huge fan of Strong Arm, but that's just as good as Bilgewater removal gets. The Strong Arm and things like Sunk Cost, not particularly appealing, but it's one of their core weaknesses. All right, coming out of this one, going to take the Jagged Butcher pack. This is our premier one drop. We're looking for a lot of Jagged Butchers and a lot of Pull Sharks, so glad to add him in. And then, oh boy, a Bayou Brunch, where I'm happy enough to like, let's stay away from that, man. I was like, I'm happy enough to just like stay away from Noxus, but we are picking up like real removal spells here out of Noxus. Let's get the Whirling Death, Calling Strike, and then we should hopefully be able to stay pretty Bilgewater centric from this point forward. So, all right, here I'm going to take the Pull Shark. I don't like pick a card, but again, this is one of our premier one drops. Add that one in. I was waiting on a Snapjaw Swarm to show up. What a fucking dumb card. I really hope, like, I don't think Riot will do anything about it before the next expansion comes out because it's a small one. But I'm like really hoping before the next big one comes out, they go and like retool some of the archetypes. Like they did a big retooling with the 211 patch before the Bandle City card started. And just like get these Snapjaw Swarms and stuff out of here. These are not fun for anybody, and this is a real weak point of Expedition, having these things turn up. But out of this pack, we got a Hired Gun. This is the Premier 2, and so add into our early game aggressive stack. All right, not too happy about any of these. I really like our curve to be a lot lower, but I'm not taking Warning Shot Parlay. These cards are too bad. If you're playing Gangplank, then maybe you can go for it, but that's not how we're going to level up our Twisted Fate. So I'm just going to go with the quality cards here in the Razor Scale Hunter stack. And oh boy, at least line them up is okay. But we're getting another Jagged Butcher. This is just a function of what happens when you're out here drafting Bilgewater. The cards are so bad. You gotta do battle with all these Bayou Brunches and all of these Snapjaw Swarms and all the Blood Baits and everything. It's just like there's always something like Brash Gambler to really to shit on your parade. And let me tell you, it feels pretty good to drop a Brash Gambler, discard 2 cards, and then just have your opponent be like, Homecoming, or here's a Vengeance. Just like, oh, I heard you wanted to get 3-for-1. Let me show you how good it feels in this world of conchologists. How good it feels to get 3-for-1 on the other side of the table. But I mean, that's who we're adding in here today. Oh, nice, a blood bait. Just what I was hoping for. Just oh my gosh. So I'm going to go with the Tusk Raider out of this. It's at least a strong late game play. I don't like to be over about like 6 off faction cards. And we have a lot of Noxus we're looking to trade away. And so I haven't talked about the Scion and archetype being bugged and everything. Pretty confident we'll get to the trade pick at 15, and it's going to offer us to trade away Scion for Twisted Fate. And so we're going to have like 1 short card there. And so we'll drop back down to 6, and then still have some good top end here in the Armored Elephant. All right. So here we do have a Pull Shark, but it's paired up with Sunk Cost, or as kind of like eyeballing the Arena Battlecaster, but we didn't really pick up enough of the go wide stuff for this guy to be appealing. So I'm going to pick up another Pull Shark here. Hopefully we can just trade away the Sunk Cost at some point. On to the next one. Oh boy, a blood bait. It's just so miserable, right? It's just, there's like literally unplayable packs. Like, I don't know how many there's been. I know this is our second blood bait. We saw a Snapjaw Swarm. It's just like a third of the draft is just out the window whenever you draft Bilgewater. Like, this card is just 100% completely dead. Like, there's the cohesive bonus and a lot of the archetypes, right? If the idea with the cohesive bonus is, say, with like puff caps, if your deck doesn't look very puff cap centric, then they should stop offering you puff cap cards, and that's what should be happening with these Snapjaw Swarms. But I don't know if it's because they spread them out all over the place. Like, Herder, this is like a Misfortune Irelia deck, and wouldn't it be cute if we're getting free attacks with the Snapjaw Swarms? I don't know. The intern thought that was a great idea, but it's just so brutal for all these other archetypes to have this turn up. That needs to get set either just removed from Expedition, which I would love to see, or they need to put like the super high cohesiveness rating on all these things. But it's like there's like Predict Lurkers, right? That's the Echo Pike archetype. And then there's regular Lurkers, which is Pike Rek'Sai. Like, blood baits there, fine, by all means. But they littered these in like 2 of the 4 Misfortune archetypes, and then I think there's 1 in like Fizz archetypes. It's just so fucking dumb that these are running around all throughout Expedition. But whew, I got that one out of me. All right, let's take this this vulnerable pack and move on. And all right, I was right about pick 15, but it offered us Gangplank instead of Scion, and that's completely fine. We can make pretty good usage out of Gangplank here. Whew. All right, so I got the rant out of me. You know what time it is. We do have to go and turn something premium. Let's take a peek at what lives here. Let's just search through Bilgewater. Maybe we'll get a nice Bilgewater card out of these. Not in the units. We didn't physically get a warning shot, but let's do the light 'em up here. I know we got one of these. If we ever want to play Nami and Constructed, she'll be pretty happy that we picked up the light 'em up. And I'm feeling pretty good about that one. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse a lot when it comes to talking about Bilgewater and everything, but I don't know. If you're the intern at Riot and you don't know enough about Expedition, you can feel free to message me on Twitter. I'll give you a consultation and not charge you for it. It's just the intern. That's who I refer to them as. I don't know who at Riot actually made the updates to Expedition or whatever, but I assume that they're like seasoned game devs would not go and do what they've done to Bilgewater with all these blood baits and everything, and that just some intern did it. And they were busy trying to get ready for a new set release or something, and they passed it off on the intern, and the deadline got met. Everything was okay. you know, hats off to you, intern. I couldn't imagine one of the seasoned devs doing that to all the expedition archetypes. But all right, back to the action here. We got our not our blood bait, Jesus. We got our jailbreak off for the first turn. Let's see if we can't get something nice and aggressive going on here. Oh, just an actual shutdown. Ugh. So we do have like some card generation to a degree, right? We have these Yordle Grifters that can generate warning shots. And so maybe we'll get some like value out of this Grey Physician here in the future, but we'll wait and see. This is actually pretty good for us, though. I'm surprised he's putting the Yeti Yearling into combat in the face of our pile of 1-drops. What did we hit? We hit Line Him Up. We can just discard the Line Him Up to the Great Physician if we want, but I feel like we have to open here. Trundle Diana, I don't expect like too much Yetis turning up, but if he plays a Yeti Yearling or something here, or a Avrosian Trapper or something here, it's pretty bad for us. I just don't understand this trade. I think this is what we'll just discard the Line Him Up. I mean, if he plays like a Diana or something here, then sure, let's blow her up. Or, I mean, what if we like Grey Physician away the Citrus Courier, play the Line Him Up to get the Powder Keg, and then maybe we get a good Make It Rain next turn. Like, I think I'm kind of okay with that. We're not like going down a card, we're just cycling a card away. Maybe we should have done it that way. Played the Line 'em Up and then get the Powder Keg, then discard the generated card. That would have probably been a little bit cleaner. I was just had it in my head that we were just getting the Powder Keg. Look at this Yordle Grifter just ruining my day. Like, let me stop and point this out to you in case you're new. Premium, 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 not premium. I bet we miss. Watch this. Watch this. Are you ready for it? I bet we play the Grifter and just miss. Not this time. Okay. But not a bad space here. He adds the Serpent, sure. You can hook the Powder Keg if you want, that's fine. We're going to look to Razor Scale Hunter down this Weirding Stones next turn. Hopefully continue on with some aggression. What's this? Trying to play spells and stuff on us. Yep. Oh, is he going to go for the trade? I'd much rather see him trade for this Nimble Poro. Like, it's not doing anything the rest of the game. What? So dangerous. Okay. So, my new thing now, we don't physically have any plunder cards in our deck, right? We don't have any black market merchants. We don't have any pilfered goods. I guess we have Strong Arm. It's not, I'm highlighting it here, but the tooltip's messed up on LOR Guardian. I'm just kind of thinking if we want to actually flip our Gangplank, then we should probably just go ahead and play the Warning Shot. And so I'm going to take the tick up here while we can. You know, we're pretty likely to be able to get combat damage through next turn, but the necessity of that physical, like the one other card that matters with Plunder, it's not that big. I guess Citrus Courier has Plunder as well, but I think that's okay. Wow. Interesting. So do we want to go ahead and... I was going to say, is this going to be a Fury of the North? Oh, Troll Chant. He's all about being ramped today. Now, the question is, do we want to try and put some damages onto the Yeti? And I'm not opposed to it. I think this is okay. Like, I want to protect our good unit down here. But it's like we can't even take him down with a weapon hilt. I don't really want to just trade a Tusk Raider for it. So I think this might get us where we want to be in terms of killing off the Yeti. I think that's an appropriate noise for when you draw a Reborn Grenadier. Yeah. Sad noise. Okay. All right. So I think we want Written in the Stars. Happy to pick up either a Gangplank or a Twisted Fate here. Meteor Shower looked kind of meh. Equinox, okay. We lose our scout. All right, well, we're drawing Twisted Fate off the Written in the Stars. Is that who we're interested in here? I don't think we are, right? We have the Make It Rain Gangplank. I think we want to go for the Make It Rain, right? He has multiple good targets between the Feral Mystic, the Enraged Yeti. Hitting face isn't that bad. It does make some kind of argument for trying to do it next turn, but if we red card his board, then we can also just flip our Gangplank next turn as well. So we hit the Mystic and face. The Plunder lets us go ahead and add Jagged Butcher now if we want. Okay. Rip Gangplank. You were close to flipping, my dude. you just didn't get there at the end of the day. Now I'll weapon hilt into the Moondreamer. You'll overwhelm fragment. Okay. The number one card in Constructed, Sunk Cost. if you're not familiar, it's been a week or two since it happened, but the dude that was rank 1 NA was being real clever in terms of using Ari Kennen and trying to show how ridiculously powerful the archetype was, and he he played like 2 Sunk Costs in his deck to come in and prove the point. But opponent's not playing cards. This is kind of odd. I'm starting to get scared about playing this Twisted Fate. Right, this was the idea. I wanted to gold card his biggest unit, but now it's like I'm getting worried that he's going to play like Trundlequake or something. I mean, we have some stuff that'll survive it, right? The Elephant will survive, Twisted Fate will survive, but just an Entomb. Okay. It's not playing Aurelion solo, right? Okay. I feel better now. And Diana.
Your light is a lie. Watch this.
Looks like trouble.
Okay. Let's say if he wants to take the value block onto Pull Shark, then fine. Let's chunk in big damage. Okay. That one wasn't on my radar, but we were pretty close to getting the lethal here. We have the Elephant under Entomb. We can get the double Reborn Grenadier down next turn if we want. we can discard 2 to Brash Gambler, which is technically works with this Reborn Grenadier. Okay, Diana, got your damage in. Maybe that's where we're actually at today. I'm going to leave Diana on board. She just has less stats than the Elephant. Like, if everything goes wrong, he kills all of our stuff except the Elephant, then it can still trample through and kill Diana, where it's not going to trample through and kill through that Yeti. All right. I guess this is what our life looks like now, discarding stuff to Brash Gambler. I should have known that. I should have known that that was what we should have built towards today. Would be the discard deck, but using Brash Gamblers as our discard outlet. I should have known. I should have known. All right, we got him though. Twisted Fate pulling down the W. Brash Gambler. Brash Gambler Scion. I should have known better. That's what I get. I didn't think this one through close enough. Ugh. All right, what are we adding in here? I'm fine to add in the Twisted Fate. Like, it does have a Plunder card, which we kind of need. The Double Troubles, whatever. And then these Gangplank cards are not that appealing. I really don't like Monkey Idols. Don't want to add that in. Misfortune, the cards with Misfortune are the best, but we don't have the tools to really. We don't have the blood baits to get our Misfortune leveled up quickly, and so we'll have to skip over that. Oh my god. Fucking bloodbait. An intern just... Granted, there was a time where, like, Bilgewater was... They weren't, like, the #1 faction. I don't know if there's been a point in time when Demacia wasn't the highest win rate faction in Expedition. Maybe like when the first set was released and there were like a lot of issues with like Tryndamere and everything. Like Tryndamere got pulled from Expedition because he was too good. And so maybe like Freylord was on top there for a while, or before they really got to like curating the archetypes and you could get these decks that had like 6 Omen Hawks in it. Like I could see Freylord being the strongest then. But there was a time when Bilgewater wasn't just in like the dregs of everything. They were fighting with like Shurima there for a while, where or like right when Shurima was released, they were just far and away the worst faction around. But that's like expected, given the way Riot designed the release of the cards in this game, to where they did the staggered release of the factions, and then Shurima would have, I don't know, 100 cards compared to like Demacia having 400 or 500 cards or whatever. I know those numbers aren't right, but the concept is right. But Bilgewater even then was was fighting for the bottom. It takes a lot of good misfortunes for Bilgewater to not be terrible. But okay, let's see what we can do here. Picked up some real gems in this hand. We got the Reborn Grenadier. We got the pick a card. This is slightly awkward in that I want to like Grey Physician this Grenadier away. I mean, this is still fine, I guess. I mean, he's going to attack. We're going to Hired Gun and then just not block. And then next turn, we'll try to Reborn Grenadier down the Claw of the Dragon. I think that's fine. There's like a non-zero chance that he has a recall for this. Like he has like the Kennen. I don't think he's going to be doing a bunch of recall things. Like, right, he just physically played Claws of the Dragons, but it at least gives us some reasonable value out of these. What up, TF? And I haven't done the reference yet to Steve, the old Steve reference. Ew, that's kind of gross. You know, most of these champions have some kind of like reasonable name. I guess Gangplank is kind of more thematic and not like an actual name, like Garen or Katarina or Evelyn or whoever. And I just like envision Twisted Fate sitting down at the card table and someone calls him by his real name, Steve. And there's like, Steve, deal him. We're playing Hold'em today. He's like, fuck you, my name's Twisted Fate. That's how I envision him. Don't call me Steve. It's like, oh really? Did your mom name you Twisted Fate? Fuck you, man. That's the way he works. Yes, my mom named me Twisted Fate. But alright, back to this. Away from Steve. What are we going to do? This hand is horrible. We need to pick a card, and I think we're good to just get rid of Make It Rain. I'm not opposed to playing like double pick a card, but then we like lose out on a lot of the fleeting aspects. And then next turn, I also imagine that we really just want to play like Armored Elephant and Whirling Death. But there's like, what happens if he just opens on us, right? Or if he doesn't open, like he plays a 3/3, we play the elephant, and he says, "Oh, well, I'm just not attacking with 3/3 now." So I think we're kind of safe to get rid of some of this. And then if like we just have to lose the fleeting, then fine. But this is just a bad spot. This draw was incredibly awkward. Okay. I think this might be our Brash Gambler, though. It's so bad. I can't do it. It's just like, I don't expect like too many Kennen cards coming out of them, but oh shit. Okay. Is this slow? Yes. Well, I guess this aspect of it's technically fine, but we gotta burn him down, this dragon. Oh, this is lining up to be so scary. Like if we'd saved it up for the Whirling Death, then we could kind of like get around the dragon if he has like another prismatic barrier in hand. I guess the counter argument is if he has a single combat, then he can just single combat with the strike him down on the stack. But oh boy, this is bad. Yes. Chum him up. I feel like our chance of success here, low. I've ranked it at low. Oh my god, so many riposts. If he has the single combat, we're just done. It's very easy for him to have it here, but I don't know, he's playing 3 factions. I don't know what's worse. Well, I know what's worse. Playing Bilgewater is worse, but I really have very little respect for any 3-faction deck. I think they're all fucking terrible. But we're the ones out here playing Bilgewater today. Oh my god, what a bad hand. We just can't play Brash Gambler. I mean... So we can add Razor Skull Hunter, but it's just like... We play the Brash Gambler and it gets bounced. We're in such a bad spot. Right. Then we can just follow up with the Citrus Courier if we want. We're getting up to 10 mana though, as of course, this guy has a third riposte. And say we're getting up to 10 mana now, so I was kind of interested in having like red card Twisted Fate plus Citrus Courier next turn. Okay. Oh, that was going to be so nice if he's playing Retreat. Okay. Sure. What more is there to say? What more is there to say? It's technically not that bad of a deal. He spent 4 mana on the White Flame Protector, 1 mana on the Retreat, 4 mana to replay it. All right, let's get him, Steve. Is he gonna riposte us again? Taking bets on the riposte coming in. Oh my god, are you serious? If he has it, he would be blocking with the Lifeline Protector, right? Okay. So we're getting to where we can't even play the Brash Gambler. This is a little meh. I was hoping to discard the Calling Strike to the Brash Gambler so that we could attack with this stuff and then rally and then potentially get some more card draw in. But I can't wait to see him. Drop a bounce spell here. That also leads to, like, they fixed a lot of these cards to where you could still play it. Like they fixed Rummage to where you could play it if you're just discarding one. It's just like it's so brutal to have these cards that you can't even play unless you have specific requirements met. This is interesting. He doesn't just take the block onto the Gambler. Oh, makes sense. Okay. Are we plundered? Oh my god, that's so brutal. Okay. I was really gonna feel good if we could strong arm actual anything. I don't think we dealt any damage that turn, but no, Gangplank just ticked up. But no, these cards are super frustrating that you can't even play. Like in Magic, you have the concept of Hellbent as to where you get some kind of bonus if you don't have any cards in your hand. Because it's just like the worst thing that you can have happen, right? You've played all your cards, and it's just so weird that when you have like one of these cards to where you have to have something in your hand to actually be able to play it. It feels like, if you've emptied out the entirety of your hand, you should be able to get to play this for free. But wish it read like discard your entire hand up to 2 cards, right? So you could still play it if you only had 1 card or 2 cards or 0 cards. But who knows? I don't make the rules. But here, this is exactly where we're at with this deck, right? We have the choice between trading away some utter garbage in the Reborn Grenadier or trading away some utter garbage in the Brash Gambler, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the Grenadier. I don't know, the Brash Gambler at least has stats on it. It's not ephemeral. I don't know. It's the worst of the two that we can go ahead and get rid of. I mean, there's a world where that card's okay if you're in like the super dedicated discard deck, but that's not where we're at today. Okay, what are we doing with this one? Let's keep the Jagged Butcher, keep the Twisted Fate. Another 3-faction deck. Wow, they're all over the place today. I don't know what the deal is. I assure you 3-faction decks are terrible. But are they more terrible? Are they more terrible than playing Bilgewater? Probably not. Yeah, let's go ahead and double trouble, see if we can't get a 2-attack unit. I didn't want to play the Butcher since if we get like a good double trouble, then we can play him boosted next turn. This is still pretty decent. They've been worn down the Legion Drummer. Get the hook with the Mentor. We're going to get the Plunder because of Crackshot Corsair. So this is not terrible. Light is a lure in the dark. Okay. Now, opponent's playing units we can't answer. He's out here playing 3/3s. That's a little much for our deck to handle. Nothing over 3 toughness, please.
Pride was my end, as it will be yours.
Okay, well, we can try to clean up with red card. I don't feel like I'm really excited about this, but it's gonna get a good hook onto Butcher. Uber Sentinel does an attack. Makes sense when he's playing multiple kindreds. Okay. And we won't get greedy with these warning shots this game, right? We've already picked up 2 plunder cards. We'll hang on to that.
We three will have blood.
Okay.
My prey.
It's pretty terrible for us. I think we still want to get the attack in. He has the option for value blocks, and then we can clean up with Twisted Fate. He's not like really incentivized to open. I don't imagine he wants to trade his Bakai Sandspinner for a Crackshot Corsair. So this might work out okay. Deal me in. Get him, Steve. Sure. Probably take a block on one of these.
Who's on top of the bounty board today? Got some fighting ya.
And I don't think we want to open though, right? We could technically like open and then play Citrus Courier and maybe get a second attack in, but I think we just want to drop the Tusk Raider here. And then if he's like Vengeance, then it's still pretty okay. Weight of Judgment's a little worse for us. It's much cheaper, but I think this is fine. And he no played.
The soul wears away like grains of sand.
It's fairly tempting, right? There's actually a pretty good chance that he just doesn't have a unit here, given that his last turn he just banked on 3 mana. Now, granted, again, like a Kindred deck is kind of happy to be having just 3 mana, but I felt like that there was a non-zero chance we could get him to play no unit and then just have a full attack here. So with this one, though, I'm going to double trouble. I don't suspect it's going to get much, but he's just going to like hook our Crackshot Corsair. But I want these dudes on board, and then I'm going to line them up and shoot down this Bakai Sandspinner. Chum the Waters is kind of interesting. Let's see what kind of vulnerables we can get here. We have to give up on a Citrus Courier play, but might be able to get something good going. Now I'm really interested to see if he just passes and leaves 1,000,000 mana up, or yeah. So he's gonna have like a trick, but we're chunking in for tons of damage. Let's put Kindred on the Longtooth since that's. Oh, let's do it the other way. Right, it reads like we're gonna lose out on a point of damage, but he's gonna want to kill the unit that's in front of Kindred, and so this way we still get to chunk in the point of Overwhelm. Now we might be able to get a Citrus Courier hit in next turn. Right, warning shot into Citrus Courier or something. Maybe. Let's get him, Steve. Ugh, Drain? Ugh, that's fucking brutal. Okay.
Guess we're going.
Gotta have something go right. Oh shit, we didn't get to play our Whirling Death. Oh, that was bad. That was bad. I pushed the button way too fast. Oh, that is not good. Seems like he's gonna have something anyways, but I fully intended to hook and get a Whirling Death coming out of here. Why is he doing this on his own? Okay. Weird. Alright, so we've got our one unit on board. And as exactly as I was bitching about Brash Gambler, they changed Spirit Leech, right? We can just play Spirit Leech. You don't have to kill the unit to put it on board, which is so silly in terms of things like Brash Gambler. See, you can just click done, and it'll come right down. I don't know. I don't make up the rules, but I think that's stupid. It's just gonna be real with you right quick. I think that's dumb.
Time to make some coin.
All right. I was curious. I wanted to give him like the initiative this time to see if he would like Whirling Death or play a ping on our Spirit Leech or something. It's not the case. I was not expecting this to go like this. They just have like so much removal. Wild. And then he no plays with 8 mana and 3 spell mana. I don't get it.
I'm not greedy. My friends, though.
None stronger, none more feared.
No, I was really like clenching the butt cheeks, getting ready for a ruination right there. But, huh? All right, what is in his hand? That is weird. This has to be combat tricks, right? He's got like a bunch of exhausts. Would that be it? Like if he has Ruthless Predators, you could still at least like Ruthless Predator the prey. I guess I wouldn't have killed anything, but that's wild. I was expecting that to be done. And okay, here we're getting rid of Brash Gambler. So at least like we've gotten most of the just like actual unplayable cards out of our deck. I'd still like to get rid of Pick a Card. But the big ones in the Brash Gambler and in the ephemeral discard thing are gone. I would like to get rid of Strong Arm and Sunk Cost. I don't rank these as like unplayable. Like I would rather have Scrap Shot than Sunk Cost. But if you don't have Scrap Shot, then you like have to have a Sunk Cost just as a kind of catch anything removal spell. Strong Arm and the Sunk Cost, they're definitely not good, but I don't rank them as unplayable as I would with Brash Gambler. Man, what a game. Oh man, is this guy going to be premium on everything? I don't know if we can beat somebody else doing the pay-to-win lifestyle. Like, did you see what this guy's bringing to the party? He's got both Full Party Talia and Worldbreaker Trundle. Oh man, I like what you're about, dude. Let's see if he starts dropping premiums on us. Oh, right there. Thumbs up on that emote, my dude. I like what you're about. So let's see. We got to get somebody on board, though. Let's drop the Grave Physician. I think Eben Warned is okay to discard. Like, we can... Whatever his play is, we can pop it with Hired Gun. And I just don't think the Eben Warned's going to do anything for the moment. It's like, now I want to drop Double Trouble, but we don't have the mana to do it all.
We playing bilge rules, son?
Okay. That's not premium though. You're dropping a little bit in my books there, Arva Liar. You gotta go all in. We don't half-ass anything around here. I like it though. I like it. You got one premium. You got the skins out here. It's tough. I've only purchased one skin. I think I've got like Pool Party Fiora. Just a lot of them don't really do it for me, and so my skin game isn't up to snuff as my premium game is.
I don't want to meet whatever woke you up. Safety will cost you.
Alright, pick up a Succumb to the Cold. We're going to lose out on weapon hilt, that's okay. We're not going to get into that kind of combat here. So, we have this Razor Scale Hunter now. It doesn't seem that good. I want that weapon hilt. This is the turn where the weapon hilt would be good. But we have a couple options, right? We can double trouble and just slam. He's gonna get a good block with the Chronomancer. He's gonna put a 5/4 on the Grifter. Like, nothing about that seems good. I think we're stuck just like trying to interact with the Grumpy Rock Bear. And going from there. Weight of Judgment's fine. Just a do-nothing landmark. Interesting. Okay.
You point, I shoot.
Seize the opportunity.
Again, he can get like a 3/1 onto a 3/3. He can get a 2/3 onto our 2/2. He's going to get blasted for 6. That's good. And then next turn, he can say like vulnerable hook the Razor Scale Hunter if he wants, but that doesn't seem great. Strong arm. Are we gonna strong arm a Grumpy Rock Bear? God, these dum-dums cost 5 mana. It's insane. That's not bad. That's not bad. Recall any follower into your hand. This costs 5. I don't want this stupid thing. You just can't quit trying. Fetch isn't happening. I don't want you. All right. Gonna drop Jagged Butcher. Gonna drop Double Trouble, and then I'm gonna Calling Strike Talia, and we'll call it a day. Is this even good? Like, we're not gonna open. Well, we just can't even really attack next turn. We have to attack next turn. Alright, let's take down the Talia. Okay. So now, like, we have the two options, right? We can red card Twisted Fate and then strong arm back the Grumpy Rock Bear. Just to get this giant dum-dum off of the board. Then, you know, we can replay him at whatever size he is. Like, we just don't have enough card draw to be like, let's play Twisted Fate and blue card him. I think that's just kind of where we're stuck. Maybe he'll pass back. It's always suspect when you just pass like this. Nope. This is a pretty... Ravoon is a pretty good target for this Twisted Fate play, though. Okay.
These are my streets.
Sure. Tend me.
Deal me in.
So tiny now, Twisted Fate. Everything feels so irrelevant against this board. That's okay. You did your job, TF. All right, then pick up Ravoon. I still just like don't think we're in a good place to attack. Like, playing a Succumb to the Cold doesn't feel like it's going to do anything. I mean, We don't have the combat stuff to really build these things up. I don't know. I don't know how we're supposed to get through these. Eclipse Dragon. Close. That's the way you do it. You just call your shot on Eclipse Dragon and it'll carry you. It'll show you the way.
We can always rely on you to keep us safe.
He hit it though. Fuck. Alright. Alright. That was tough. That was a ton of value that he presented between copying the dude with the Talia, then having some invokes. Not bad. Not bad. So here, this is tough. It's like I don't really want this like Savage Reckoner, Armored Tuskgrader kind of plan, but this is how we'll like realistically win some games, right? So we'll have a couple Gangplanks, Tuskgrader, Savage Reckoner get to crash in for the Overwhelms. That's fine. So I think I'm going to hang on to him. I'm just going to pick up the extra hired gun here. It's a powerful 2-drop. Maybe one day we'll get a free attack with it and feel good about ourselves. Whew. Man, I forgot. It's stressful playing these shitty cards. It's like every game is a chore. Nothing just feels like really good. Man. Whew. I don't know. It seems like I kind of have this concept of like how I would like to see the buckets work, as to where they release a new archetype, they just make it as completely strong as possible. You make it look like the constructed deck would look like or whatever, and then if the deck is too powerful, then you add bad cards in it to tone it down, and so that's what we kind of used to see with the likes of Lulu, Irelia, Azir. Trying to decide if I want to keep this Make It Rain. I think we may. If he's gonna drop if he's gonna be like a Greenglade Duo style deck, then I want to have the Make It Rain. But he's playing like Lulu. Well, I guess it's only one Lulu. Okay, I think this might be a Greenglade Duo deck. But no, like the Vanguard Sergeant is the big one that I talk about. It was too good in Expedition, so they cut it from a lot of archetypes. It was in like 3 or 4 or 5, and then they removed it from everything except Demacian Steel. And then it got slowly added back in as Demacia needed to be improved. And now that it's gotten buffed again, it just needs to be needs to be completely removed from Expedition. But the idea I think I would like was if they just make the archetype's good. Everything that's good, and if it gets out of hand, then you'll come back and edit it down later. I just don't think that that's ever going to be a thing anymore. It's a little unfortunate. But in these terms, right, then the Bilgewater decks, if they're just bad, they're just bad, and that's the way that it's been. But you don't have to like feel like they haven't done everything that they could do to make Bilgewater not terrible. I feel like there's a lot that could be done to make Bilgewater not terrible these days. But anyways, moving on here, Make It Rain was fine. That was a very expensive Homecoming. We also got the Plunder for this Jagged Butcher, which is pretty cool. And then if he replays his Sparring Student and we get to pop it with this Chum the Waters, this game's just going to be done. But like, what are you gonna do here, guy? Right? Are you just gonna get domed for 10 or what? Like, that Homecoming seemed kind of sus. But looking good for us. Pretty glad we kept that Make It Rain. It seems like that turned out to be a pretty good idea. Man, we can't even Calling Strike anything now. We just have literal no plays. Okay. I'm just looking at the open now. Like, we do have I was thinking before we drew Twisted Fate that we would just like open and then we can follow up with Citrus Courier. I think that's still where we're at. He can get like good block with Blossoming Blade, but he just dies. Like the Sparring Student block is not good. Okay. There shouldn't be too much in his repertoire to be worried about. Imagine Possibilities is most certainly not something we're worried about.
Seen tombs, towns, and everything.
Game blouses. Got him. Serve him up some pancakes after this. Did it. Did it. Victory is ours. So, what are we going to do here? I'm not opposed to drafting either Twisted Fates or drafting Gangplanks. I kind of feel like, well, this deck needs a little bit of everything. I kind of like the cards that are paired with Gangplank here, but we already have like so many spells. Like I get some of these spells do generate units. We have 1 Jailbreak, we have 2 Double Troubles. So it's like we only have like, oh, and we have 2 Chum the Waters. So that's 5. It's like we only have 10 spells really. It's just like we already have this package of bad removal, right? And yes, we would prefer to have Scrap Shot, but I don't want to just add Scrap Shot in and hope we get to trade away these other ones. Like if we never get to trade them away, it's going to be pretty painful. And so I'm going to go with the Twisted Fate here. And then I did just notice this. This is kind of cool, right? If you see the bottom half of Double Up ties into the top half of Scrap Shot. Notice that? But the different pictures here, right? So maybe, well, I guess they don't completely line up. It just looks like they kind of line up. And there's fireballs coming from the back. Okay, those are those are not intended to be lined up. Hard hitting art analysis from FTP Bust. Let me tell you, I know my art. I'm pretty good at it. I took an art course in college. It was online, and essentially the way the course would go was 16 weeks, whatever a semester is, and then you would have to write like a 1-page paper on a piece of art in the book, and so you're supposed to read the book and then to discuss what you learned on the chapter, and then of course I'm sure each chapter was about a type of art. Couldn't tell you what any of those were, but you can't really like say that someone's feelings are wrong, right? And so, I feel like you just spew off a page on how a piece of art in that in there made you feel, and that was that. So I'm pretty sure I got an A. But all right, back to the game here. I was hoping that we could just like get him with this Chum the Waters. We didn't quite get him, but this should be okay. And then even if we make this attack, and he's got a Prismatic Barrier to save the Protege, I think that's still pretty good for us. We're just down 1 mana. Okay. Okay, so our fresh card was the Hired Gun. Gonna want to add that to the board. Don't think this is quite worth a Twisted Fate, right? If he wants to trade for our Jagged Butcher, then fine. And say if you have a spell, fine. Let's pass. Let's let him at least attack first, and then if we miss out on the Hired Gun, then kind of whatever. Another 3-faction deck. I'm telling y'all, don't do it. Don't do it. Number 1 lesson from FTP Bust. Don't do 3 factions.
Gets noticed around here.
Alright, so no like really strong attacks into this Bright Steel Protector, but you don't have any good plays otherwise. I set on a 6, that kind of sucks. I assume he no blocks this. He's only taking 3, but then maybe we'll get a good Twisted Fate shot. Thinking hard on this one. It says, my premium Brightsteel Protector will not be taken down that easily. Maybe he'll play the Shen swap out as Elixir of Iron. Okay, sure. That's I'm happy enough to trade our wanted poster for an Elixir of Iron. It's not bad.
Get bloody, get paid.
Get bloody, get paid. It's my motto.
Always 2 steps ahead.
That's a little scary. Let's see if we can't go ahead and deal with Fiora.
Never lost a fair game or played one.
I don't suspect this to be a full like Fiora build around, but it should be like very easy for them to have prismatic barriers and troll chants and the whole host of combat tricks. And then I think we can probably just whirling death out of whatever he's doing now. So we'll see. It's not super likely we get this Twisted Fate flipped, but I don't think we want to give up on him just yet.
Place could use some order.
The Laurent Caviler.
Good grief. You point, I shoot.
Lady Luck is smiling.
Okay. Maybe we'll get a Harsh Winds out of this. Just don't want to give him like the free units with the Cavalier. Like if he's spending combat tricks here to make sure his Cavalier or his Fiora don't die, then that's fine. He has like Shen swap or something that we're going to get blown out. But if he's playing like a riposte on Fiora to kill our Twisted Fate, then that feels like a big win. If like the end of his plays are, you know, Caviler in front of Hired Gun, riposte onto Fiora, sure. I would think he would rather just riposte the Caviler. Some people out there don't realize I can say words not good on purpose. I understand that this should be Cavalier. But if we take a moment to sound out this words, right? CHEV Chev, that's the A, Cheva, and then liar, right? The Cheviler. Okay, so he takes 8. No Fiora ticks, and he's really close to dead now. That could be useful. Oh, the Make It Rain. That's what I was just thinking as he like looks to hook both of our Pole Sharks this turn. If we pick up Make It Rain and get to clean up with it, that's quite strong. Quite strong. Sejuani. Oh, fuck. that limits our abilities.
Salt and stitches to awaken the blood within.
Okay.
I am the rose. You are the lucky you.
Try me.
Oof. Oh, the choice one. Does he have a card? We can potentially just win. I don't know about you, but I'd like to just win the game. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, and the weapon hilt? Oh, man. Oh, man.
Time to make some coin.
We'll get him in. We'll just do the sloppy attack. We should put the hired gun out here, but either this attack happens and we win the game, or we just lose. Excellent. Ooh. That's a nice Make It Rain. Yeah, you get a lot of people turning up. You say Vigio, they get mad. You say Emperor's Diaz, they get mad. I'm sure. Start calling something Laurent Caviler, they'll get mad. But, I mean, anyone that's been a 12-year-old boy knows that as soon as somebody gets mad, you just got to keep doing it. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. But out of these, like, I would like to trade the pick a card for Chum the Waters, but I really want to get the sunk cost down, right? I want to have 1 sunk cost, 0 strong arms, and Black Market Merchant's on task with what we're trying to do, and so, nice addition here. It's whenever I see somebody post in the comments that you're saying Vigio wrong, it just reminds me, it's like, you're going up to your brother and like sticking your finger in his face and being like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. I'm just going to keep saying it wrong. Oh my gosh. Like, I do feel bad to a degree for some people, those people being like, it's someone's job to come up with lore, and you know, they put their heart and soul, I'm sure, into the lore of League of Legends and spent a lot of time coming up with those names and trying to perfect it and everything, but you know, I can't help that. I hope they understand. But all right, let's start off with the jailbreak here. I don't want to have to use the pull shark and hope we hit a 1 or a 2. Dancing Droplet, all right. He's ready for battle. One of the better 1-cost ones. He unfortunately doesn't attune anymore. I can't imagine after like the strength of Ari Kennan that like at what point did they not realize that Dancing Droplet having a tune was a bad idea? Like, right, they went and nerfed this during Aurelia Azir, but it's not like Riot is just like testing cards in a vacuum. They're testing cards like way out into the future, and they at no point were like, "Oh yeah, this Dancing Droplet is fine," as we're gonna print Ari Kennan. Insane. All right, let's clear out this board. I'm not gonna try and quick attack down this little bird. And now we can add Pool Shark. Much more reasonable for us to play a 4-cost off the Pool Shark next turn. That's a sad one to see go. So we can discard to the Physician for this. How do we feel about Renekton? He can't challenge, like he's out of mana. What if we line ourselves up, or attempt to line ourselves up, to having a boosted red card, right? We have this line him up in Twisted Fate. I think that's okay. Let's at least prevent the point of damage to us. I could see that being relevant. Right, there's no like one, that's not to say there's not 1/1s coming out of their deck, but there's not very many of them. Okay, so do we want to go for it this turn is the new question. I don't think so. I think I'm kind of happy to just add the Grifter. Bank this point of mana, attack with the Dancing Droplet, and then see if we can't get the line 'em up red card next turn. Everybody playing Ravoon today. Wild. You go so long without seeing some of these guys, and they turn up all at once. Nice draw with the Black Market Merchant. Now we can just spew off the entirety of our hand. Oh, fuck. That goes against our plan. Okay. So we have to... I guess we don't have to gold card, but we really want to be gold carding here. And then I mean...
Take everything.
It's like we need to lose the Twisted Fate if we're going to try and make this play again.
Not my first gunfight.
Okay. Oh shit, the Renekton flipped. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's a problem. I didn't stop. I've never seen... It's like I've never seen a flipped Renekton. How bad is this now? I don't think Boomerang Blade hits where we want. And then the new question, I think, like, I'm okay to just generate a powder keg. It doesn't feel like we can go into next turn without losing out on mana. But now, I think this is how we come in and take down the Renekton, right? We can shoot him with the knock him down, and then we can red card Twisted Fate and hope. No combat tricks, please. Okay. That one's fun.
Deal me in.
Okay. Inching up.
The strength of the sun and my faith are one.
Let's be real. We should be able to add the merchant. We can see if we're going to draw anything. But don't think he's going to do anything relevant. The Sunforger is kind of an odd add. Like, I want to get the Savage Reckoner down and Boomerang Blade and then Quick Attack Challenge something. Like, that seems like a pretty decent board clear. He's still safe to add, right? I think so. You potentially block the Vagabond. It's like, I don't think if he probably didn't have a combat trick. The thing to worry about now is a Boomerang Blade out of him. All right, Sunburst. So you shouldn't have Boomerang Blade. Right, if he had Boomerang Blade, he would have snapped it off. Okay. So we can get a block in here. It doesn't matter that much to lose out on the merchant. We don't have that many nabs. But man, it's like we can leave. Our Boomerang Blade is just never going to be good.
Your instincts.
Made choices.
Okay.
Get yours.
Maybe we could pull it off. Let me see what it even hits right now. It's hitting the two Sunforgers. And then Hired Gun tries to hit the strongest unit. If 9 plus 3, 12. So we can try this with Razor Scale Hunter. So let's see how this lines up. We may not, depending on what he plays, may not get a great hit on things here. That's kind of awkward. But this should take down this Sunforger, put damage on Ravoon, and then we can try and quick attack challenge down this other one. Just this is like the same thing we ran into against that last Ravoon where we're stuck in this like weird ass card advantage-y kind of game, and he's just doing it way better than we are. Yeah, he's gonna draw 2 more cards off of this. Okay. Okay, sir.
The deck was stacked against us.
That's right, the deck was stacked against us. Trying to cheat against Steve. So let's see, get rid of this other sunk cost? Fine. I mean, these things are pretty expensive, and then the merchants are spot on with what we're trying to do. Poor Steve out here. The name's Twisted Fate. That's why he says it. It has to be real gruff. Steve, dinner's ready. Shut up, Ma. It's Twisted Fate. See what I mean? Look at this. There's Trundle. I guess that's some kind of like trolley styled name. That's probably like a Steve or a Chris in Freylord speak or Troll speak, whatever language this would be in. And then you got Talia. That's a cool name. Who the fuck calls themselves Twisted Fate? It's insane to me. But all right. Back to the action. We'll bank on the turn 1 here. I don't think we need to start with Pull Sharks when we have double troubles in hand. So go ahead and drop that one now. Not as bad of a place to open. Right now, if he doesn't respond to our double trouble, we can get the nab off the Black Market Merchant, the card draw off of the Pull Shark, and that all feels pretty decent. We don't have a strong enough board to be like, here's a Pull Shark, and then like use that as bait to have them play a unit then hired gun, because they're just going to play a 3/3 like every time. All right, let's see where this gets us. We're pretty wide here, so we might find ourselves being able to. Right, we're going to start one just like chunking damage onto stuff. This is fine. We could potentially find ourselves with this powder keg, make it rain or something, depending on what they play. I think we want the meteor shower. And try to make make big tempo plays here.
Sunlight guide you, my brethren.
Psy Scout. He's playing all the toughnesses here.
Hello, world. I'm Cypher.
All right, give us something good, Jailbreak. Jagged Butcher. Okay.
You won't feel it at first.
All right, so he's going to make some value blocks. The question is, do we want... Ooh, this is just a decent Calling Strike, right? Don't care about the trade. The Calling Strike is good. Then I'm not opposed to just banking here, right? Adding like one of these units to the board isn't that big of a deal. We need to be like dropping some of these spells and clearing out whatever they add. Are you fucking serious? Are we playing like the same dude again or something? Trundle Talia. Was this the guy we played earlier? With all the skins? Arviler, yeah, okay. Say, I'm losing my mind against these multi-faction decks. Okay, okay. But now, this is a decent Chum the Waters in terms of we can Chum the Waters Ravoon, and then hook him with like drop border. That seems pretty decent to me. Curious what he would have just picked up with the Solari Priestess, though. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and Chum the Waters. Ideally, though, the way we're going to finish off this turn is I'm going to line him up, make it rain, and then shoot something for a point of damage. Probably his face. I'd like to go ahead and get this Solari Priestess off the board. It kind of depends on what he plays. Let's give him the old burst pass and see what happens. Rock Bear. Okay. Okay, so that takes him to 12. Knock him down, we'll take him to 11. Then we've got 1 damage short on board, but we do have the Citrus Courier in hand. Weight of Judgment. Do we still just go for it? I like it so far. All right, Golden Sister we just cannot deal with. And so we can drop the Golden Merchant or the Black Market Merchant. This is fine. Take Heart. We play Take Heart at some point. That's a somewhat interesting one. And then let's put the damage onto Ravoon. So if he tries to attack next turn, we can block it with Solari Priestess. Okay. Might be able to do it. Might be able to do it.
It is time.
No blocks. That feels kind of okay. Like, he's not out here gaining health or anything. The only like worry I have at this point is AoE kind of thing. So if he has a like Spirit Fire, or if he has a Avalanche or something, then that would all be problematic. Doesn't feel like that's where this is going. But now we can gold card Twisted Fate, and that'll take down the Ravoon. He's going to add in a Rock Bear, and then I think this is still just where we're at.
Deal me in.
We just gotta like chunk in as much damage as we can, and then hope we have enough to close it out with the Courier. getting in for 3 damage. Oh boy. That's not good. It's not good. But like, what else are we gonna do? Nothing's tougher than a troll. I think we can all agree that's not good. I think we had a shot if this damage came through on the Grave Physician. We may be able to find enough burn somewhere to punch in, but I don't feel really good about this anymore. Oh, I forgot he does have this elusive as well to block our Cutthroat. I guess we can block the Silver Sister with it, but okay. Sheriff Lariat Rose. You do a little something.
One troll to rule them all.
Alright, break that world, Trundle. I'm curious if there's a way we could ever sneak in a win this turn. Like, we can... like Yordle Grifter and Citrus Courier. I think we start with the Grifter just in case.
I'm not greedy.
Like, he's going to know that we can deal an extra point of damage, but I think that's safe enough. The downside to that is we lose out on a hired gun, but I think this is still okay. How much Overwhelm is this? 8 plus 5?
Bilgewater's long. Bounties pay.
Gotta just get the stats on board. Right, he can... how did this thing get so big? Oh, he rumbled it. Alright, I think this one's probably just done, but... what happens if we do this? -2.
Stand down.
We just have to block everything. Okay, sad noises. I think that's gonna do it for us. Don't have. We could pick up like a Savage Reckoner and hook in on a Aspiring Chronomancer or something. Play Double Trouble. Let's see how Double Trouble gets us. Alright, that's it. That's yeah. I mean, not bad. That's about as good as I would expect a Twisted Fate deck to go, and it was at least like starting to come together there at the end. Like, we can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. Like, the decks that I was talking about, you know, trying to be the really like ultra aggressive style Bilgewater deck, or trying to be the Plunder deck. We were starting to like get into that territory once we picked up the 2 black market merchants, and we do have like the 1 pilfered goods and a handful of the grifters and stuff, and so the idea was starting to come together, but we were still pretty light on a lot of these turns, and this deck has gotten a little bit weaker as well, just in terms of power creep, right? As we're out here with this idea of, okay, well, I'm attacking with a bunch of 2 power units between like the Jagged Butchers and whatever Jailbreak makes and our hired guns. It's like everything has 2 attack, but you used to be attacking with all your 2 attack units into 3/3s, right? And so literally every unit in the game was a 3/3, and so you could still like clean up with Twisted Fate, but like the games in this trial where we were able to clean up with Twisted Fate were just almost non-existent. It's like he was. It used to be like 90% plus of your Twisted Fate cards were red, right? Maybe that's like a little bit of hyperbole. Maybe it was more like 66% red, like 20% gold, and then 10% blue. Whatever, how make that add up to however you want it to get it to 100. But far and away, like the most powerful thing you were doing with Twisted Fate was AoEing. And it just like didn't feel like that today, and I don't feel like that was a function of us not having like a bunch of powder kegs. I feel like that was a function of like the power creep, as to where there's just tons of 4 health units and just larger health units in general, as to where everything again, like everything was a 3/3, and that's just not the case anymore. And so it's a bit of struggle for this to pop off in those terms. And so um, the thing like with the deck like this is um, I think it's kind of the best that you can do in terms of a Twisted Fate build around. Like if you find yourself out there drafting and then like you just have to do it, right? If you I don't know, you see Enlightenment, Karma, and Talia and Twisted Fate, and you want to go with him. Like I understand, it's just Bilgewater is in such a bad spot these days, and that in large part is like when we're going through the draft, and you have one pack that is Noxus, right? It's trying to assemble this allegiance deck based on Yordle Grifter. We have one pack that's Noxus. We probably don't want to take it. We have one pack that's just not obnoxious, right? That has Bilgewater cards in it, and it's not like sunk cost and other stuff. It's moderately playable things. And then you have this third pack that has Bloodbait in it, and it's just like, well, we have like one option, and it's trash. And it's again like I know I've beat the dead horse quite a bit in terms of cards like Bloodbait, but it is just like a faction killer pretty much that thing is running around, and it's not just like it's just Bloodbait, it's Bloodbait and the Snapjaw Swarm, and like I don't know if Riot just missed putting like the cohesiveness bonuses, or if the end turn got click happy, and it's like because those things live out there in like so many archetypes, but it is just so brutal in terms of what you're doing with Bilgewater, because they're just literally unplayable cards. Like the literally unplayable does get said with a bit of hyperbole, across the internet in terms of how good cards are, or Riot making typos in their patch notes or whatever, but like having a single copy of Bloodbait in your deck, or like barely, say you have one copy of Bloodbait and one Snapjaw Swarm, it is just like 2 completely dead cards. Like they have to hit just in like such perfect conjunction to do like the most minimal of abilities, that they as close to literally unplayable as you can get. And that is like what I think is the big problem with Bilgewater these days. Like you run into so many drafts to where you just don't have decisions to make. It's just like, how not unplayable can I make my deck? And it's really unfortunate that they're in that kind of space. And like I'd have to. I mean, we can click on the Expedition Insight button. I hope this doesn't make my my draft thing go away. But here you have it down here at the right, right? You got Demacia at the top with their 63% win rate, and then you have Bilgewater down here at 53%. And this is like people that are using LOR Guardian. That's usually just your people that are pretty heavy into Expedition. If you only play Constructed, you just go use Mobilytics or whatever. And so when you see these win rates, this is amongst like people that really care about Expedition, and they're barely able to pull a positive win rate with Bilgewater. And then the champions are in a pretty sad state as well. Are they not going to show up here on the filter? What did we do? We did Bilgewater. Wouldn't surprise me, but there it goes. We just can't do the faction and It's going to scroll to the bottom. It is weird to me to see Rek'Sai down here at the bottom, but going across these, there's Nami, there's Pike, here's Twisted Fate, who we just drafted, here's Tom Kench down here at 67, moving up one, here's Gangplank, here's Misfortune. It's just like the entire collection of Bilgewater champions are living down here at the bottom. And so, in days past, things would be done to, push everything here closer to the 50% win rate. I think that Riot's kind of accepted win rate is like 55%, and once you start pushing over that, you're getting into trouble. and I think probably a lot of these champions up here in the top 10 or so definitely could look to be brought down in tone a little bit. But at any rate, I think the deck thing is gone. I don't know how to get back to it on here on LOR Guardian, if that's even possible. But I think we at least touched on the highlights that you can try with Twisted Fate, right? You can be in the really aggressive Twisted Fate deck that is just trying to like flood the board with cheap drops. Have a bit of card draw to make sure you're spending all of your mana, and then use your Twisted Fate to clean up your bad combats. There's deck number 2, which would be more plunder oriented, still wants to be really cheap, but you're making up for it with drawing cards out of your opponent's deck. And then there is the Sea Monsters deck, which is probably just impossible to pull off now. And so I guess you could start with like Terrors from the Deep Maokai and then spike a Twisted Fate as your second champion, but without having those Jal Hunters naturally. And then they used to have the 5-cost Sea Monster that draws cards. That used to be littered in the Twisted Fate archetypes, and that's just gone as well. And so it's a little bit tougher to pull off. And so not exactly sure what you can do for the most success, but those would be the 3 decks that you could attempt as you draft Twisted Fate. But that is going to do it for us today. I'll click on the front page here. We got no more rewards, and so that is going to do it. So hope everyone enjoyed the trial. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You enjoyed my bitching and ranting about Bilgewater. Had a good time watching, and that is it. So everyone out there, have yourselves a good one.